And so it's actually, I think I should introduce some of the guests here, right, as well. One of the guests here is Simon Wells. And he is from Australia, one of the Australia architects from AIA Australia and the country rep. And also I would like to introduce Joe Lin, and he is the CSID's president, also the very well-known TID Awards was hosted by CSID, and also his business partner, Yan Ling, from Yan Architect. And Q Labs, Borden, I think a lot of people know about Borden. Maybe we should have lecture next time, right? And also I need to introduce this very important person because this lecture is a collaborative event organized by 冠德玉山教育基金会 and 铭传大学建筑系. So I need to introduce this person, very important person, the CEO of 冠德Education Foundation. All right, so I think I should go back to Moon Hoon. And Moon Hoon is I only have 3 hours sleep from last night. Moon Hoon graduated from MIT and he operates his architecture firms in both New York and Seoul. So next time if you go to New York, you can also say hi to Moon. Like, I think he spent half of the time in New York and half of the time in Seoul. And his design, okay, this is actually written by the magazine, so I just read it out. His design style is often described as surrealistic, excelling at breaking architecture's boundary by integrating and blending elements from various disciplines to challenge traditional architecture frameworks. Wow. So that's from the very famous architecture magazines. A lot of descriptions and sort of or definitions. Later you can read it. Just type in Google in Moon Hoon and you will read a lot about this person, this architect. And his notable work, I don't need to mention anymore because he's going to talk more about it. But in addition, his design for the Samsung Museum won a very big award. So I think he will mention later. And Moon is also widely recognized by his art piece. So we will see it later. Yeah, so his painting is being collected by MoMA, Museum of Modern Arts in New York, and also another foundation in Berlin. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce this German word.
Choban.
Choban, okay.
So you don't have to.
Okay.
It's a guy who is the name of the guy who runs it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So he's
Russian though. He's
Russian. So that's
Russian in Berlin.
Wow.
He's an American oligarch.
Okay. So he is also the designer for and also curator for 2020's World Expos for Korean Pavilion. So I think enough talk from me, and I should save time for Moon Hoon. So do a big
applause. Good morning. Well, I appreciate all your attendance. It's Saturday morning. Isn't it amazing that you're here? Okay. Thanks for your great introduction and also fun. Okay, thank you.
He can speak some Mandarin, so we can
fantastic. So I don't have a freedom of this, right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I will try to figure out.
Anyway. All right. Can we start?
Of course.
Yeah. Can we
Go
start?
ahead.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm going to be your assistant.
Okay. So I'm sorry I'll be standing here mostly because of the limit of the microphone, but if I feel like I have to go, I'll move, okay? So that's my name card, okay? For Koreans, it will be funny, but for you guys, maybe not funny. Because this represents my name written in a funny way. Because in Korean letter, you shouldn't do this, but I'm playing with the Korean characters, so that's just my name. And the reason I put a moon on it is because in Korea, my name doesn't really say anything with moon, nothing to do with moon, it just sounds like the moon, so I'm changed into it. Okay, so that's my attitude, shown in my name card. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any. Next, please. Okay, today's lecture, I have a name for it, it's called Doodle Constructivism, because I'm actually a doodler. I started doodling since I was 4. So I never thought of becoming an architect, not like many architects thought about becoming an architect, never thought about it. I was just drawing all the time. So, and then somehow it became built. So it's thus the little constructivism, and I'm referencing the Russian avant-garde, the constructivists for that too. Next, please. Okay, this is my thesis, and I just move around. Can you hear me? Yeah. So at that time I was into Hinduism. So you fall and you die, right? And you're burned by the crematorium, and that energy is used to light up this hotel. So this was my thesis, and I had a very difficult time with professors fighting over, why are you doing this? And I said, well, the whole world is, pot, right? Life and death cycle. So I was really interested in that idea since I was in the 20s, and I still have that question about life and death. Next, please. So this is the new news. I still do the same drawing, but you can jump in many more places, more diverse. Yeah. But actually, just beside that, there's a long story about it, like how to provide walkable walkways in Seoul and all that. But it's a long story, but I'll make it short. So that's the basically idea of the. And the other orientation I have about architecture is about the future, the possible future. What can we have in the future, especially in a city like Seoul where it's so dense. And new things are available. I think the future is a possibility. Next, please. Okay, this drawing is a shaman house. Why am I talking about shaman house? Because in Korea, shamanism is very strong still. I don't know about Taiwan, but in Korea, shamanism is still strong. People go to ask the shaman if my son is going to a good university, or my husband is cheating me or something, So it's every day still there. But I draw this in the sense that a new kind of technology could be supplemented to make shaman a new entity into a future. Like you use AI or something like that. This is what I thought about a long time ago. Next one. So that's the inside of the shaman house. So I thought of a hologram where you go inside and your parents visit you from a long deceased parents, whatever. So these are the ideas of a future. Next, please. Okay. So that's the newest version of the shaman house. It's more compact now. And I'm showing you this because this used to be my office. And it was the first architecture office in the world where you sit on the floor. You know how Koreans like to sit on the ondol, right? Yeah. So I made it like this, and it was on the first floor. So a lot of guests would come by, like passerbys would come in, thought it was a cafeteria. So I had a really fun experience with this experiment for about 10 years. And I got tired of it, so now I'm more normal. But at that time it was like this. Next one. Okay. This is called shellfish architecture. I had abalone for breakfast today at the hotel in a shellfish. I like shellfish a lot. So I was eating shellfish a lot, and I thought about, this could be a great architecture. Sort of like the architecture is about shelter, right? The shelter, and the shell could be a great protector of architecture, and the architecture could be really soft. Architecture is really hard, so architecture could be soft. So I thought about this, and so this was one of the ideas of a biomimicry kind of architecture. Next, please. So I was thinking, why don't we make a really big shellfish architecture? So it can be leaning in an angle, and so that was one of the ideas. Next one, please. And this is the final series of the shellfish architecture. You see, shellfish is a shellfish because it has a shell, right? But if it's like too proud, that's the end of it, right? So the shell was so proud, and then people don't ask questions, but some of the people were asking, how does this stay like this in the sky? And I said, all you need is a good glue. Not much difficult, Not much technology, just a good glue will make this happen. Next one.
You just look at me and then I will do it next time.
Oh, okay. No,
yes.
you don't. Right. Now, okay. People might misunderstand me, like, am I a sexist or something? People are misunderstanding me, but why am I here? This is It's called a new type body shop. Korea is famous for plastic surgery. I think a lot of people come to Korea to do their faces. And I was trying to do one more thing on top of that. So just don't change your face, change your mind also. So you can change and become somebody totally new when you go through this shop. And the other idea about this idea of why I drew this is that nobody remembers being in your mother's womb, right? Nobody remembers it, but I was imagining this was the first kind of experiential space in your mother's womb, right? So I thought architecture is related to womb. And in Korea, actually the womb is called a palace, 자궁. I don't know whether it's in Chinese, 자궁, but in Korea it means a palace. So I was playing with these ideas of the woman's body as an architecture. But I don't have to build this, but I'm not saying I have to build it, but that's an idea, it's a great idea. Next one, please. So I still draw them. I have some ideas. So each year I draw them. They are changing, metamorphosizing into a little bit, and it's influencing my architecture too, in real life. So it's just drawings, but it actually influences me a lot too. Okay, this is about epiphany and joy, and how can epiphany and joy be represented in architecture? So I was trying to think of some kind of psychedelic, some kind of architecture that is just the expression of joy. But when you go to a great cathedral, you see colorful lights, right? There's something great. Epiphany, I think, is related to youthful colors. So this was one of the ideas of some kind of architecture like that. Okay, I think the picture on the left this was before the modern intervention of modern architecture. I think it was really beautiful. So I was just imagining, if Korea never met the Western civilization, we might have had a future that's based on this, right? I'm not saying this is something bad about it, but I was just imagining. So this is a personal version of Korean style went berserk, It has Korean motif, but it's with a science fiction mixed up. So we could have had a kind of a different urban condition. Okay, you saw my name card, so how I play with the words and characters. So these are written in Korean, but I'm trying to make it like hieroglyphics, like the Chinese character, or picturesque. So these are characters. This is shellfish architecture, okay? So I was trying to make architecture from this. So I rotated them with an Ada computer. So I have architecture now. So very simple. So just rotate the characters and you have architecture. And that's the section of it. Now, what I'm attempting at this kind of architecture is that it doesn't have any program. So it's like going into a mountain. You go to a mountain, you rest when you're tired, right? So this is unprogrammed architecture. So the user finds the use. And the other idea is that I don't really like being inside. I always like being outside or in the balconies. It's a personal thing. So I don't really like glasses. So I'm imagining a future where architecture doesn't have glasses, but has a pressure difference. So you don't really need a glass, but then you are insulated. So if I have that technology, we'll be free to do it. No windows. Thank you. Yeah. What do you think? Anyway. So this is Gangnam area. Gangnam? Everybody knows this because of Psy. So I put this there because I think this product or this architecture seems to evoke kind of a slope that could be for the movies. So actually there's a movie theater there. So I replaced it with my idea. I hope that, but the client hasn't seen it yet. But if he sees it, maybe he will do it. Okay, so I'm an architect, but I do also a lot of exhibitions. Almost in a few years I do it. So this was an exhibition for this kind of architecture with the gallery. Okay, now Now we are going into architecture. No, it was architecture, but still, this is more real. Finger tower. Okay. Okay. This drawing was inspired by 911. I was watching TV at CNN, and I thought it was a movie. How can this be? I mean, movie in the morning? That's weird. But then I realized it's so real. So, but then it impacted me greatly in architecture. It's like, so I call it creative terrorism. It could put off some people, but anyway. So I think these ideas about the towers, how a lot of male architects are into buildings. So maybe the reason I'm doing is because I haven't done it yet. Once I build a big tower, maybe I don't want to do it, but that's not a problem. And the other idea I have about it is that I like the ramping, going up slowly. You walk up the stairs, right? But I don't like stairs. I like detouring, that's better. Ramp is better for me, I don't know why, it's just my personal thing. So I like ramp, I don't like stairs. So I don't mind detouring. So that idea is there. Oh, this is male sexual energy put into architecture. Yes. Sorry. Next one. Okay, this one. I think you know Chinese, Eastern Asian. We have the roof, right? The roof is similar. Right? Chinese, Japanese, we're all similar. So I was trying to transport past architecture into the future. So with a lot of influence from animation and science fiction also. So. And a walking city from Peter Cook, of course. So a lot of references. So I was just trying to make these pavilions, Korean traditional pavilions, which are in the mountains, to come to the city. So I give them legs, so they can come along. So we can wire this up with AI and all these ideas, I think. So you can, in the future, it could be terrible or it could be frightening, but you could have some kind of architect walking very slowly, visiting you and from time to time. Yes. Okay. Now, this drawing was inspired by a client. A client came to me and said he wants to build a real tower. Oh, finally, I can do it. That's great. But then it's a very small tower because the plot of land was really small. But he wanted his house as a tower. Wow! So I was so excited. So I just designed this out of just with no program. I designed it, and I showed it to him, and he said, "Oh, it's good. It looks like military. It's some kind of helmet or something." What is it? Well, and then I liked it because it's like almost walking, right? It doesn't have legs. It's almost, so it's ambiguous. So I like this better. Wow. Anyway. Now, I'll talk a lot about clients. Unlike architects. Architects don't talk about clients, but they must talk about clients because that's how they build, right? The clients come, they pay. Otherwise, I would be just drawing all the time, right? So, this client, even though he was small, suited, but then I realized he comes in on a motorbike to Ducati one day. Oh my God, this weird guy. And next time I meet, he has an AMG. Oh, and I don't know this before, it's Aprilia, And the other, 1 week later, he brings the plan too. So he designs also. It's a great client. I don't do anything. He does everything for me. So anyway, so this was a small piece of land. He wanted rental space, parking, and that floor top is his house. And I put the cloud because I named it Infinite Tower, right? Because there's a cloud, you can't see it, and you can make it rain, and you can paint the windows and everything, right? No, it's simple. You just put the pipe, put holes in it, put the tag, and water falls. There's not much high technology at all. Very simple. And then I showed it to him and he hated it. No, Mr. Moon, go back to the drawing board. So I went to the drawing, and you see the drawing is not very successful. So there's an immense amount of translation needed from drawing to architecture, as you can see. The next one, please. So this one was the pill version, the pill, healthy pill, elongated pill. I didn't like that. Next one. It reminds you of Calatrava, right? But that was an inspiration. It was like I was trying to make a breathing wall, where these walls could be breathing a bit and down. but I wasn't really sure about that. And this reminds you of Morphosis, right? And the suicide bridge, right? Didn't like that. Now, architects are not really logical in a sense. And some architects are not really logical, rational. Like me, I'm inspired sometimes, so I got an inspiration. I told the client, I told him, hey, send me your fingerprint. And then, okay, so this building is based on his fingerprint. Of course, you have seen this shape. I mean, there are many buildings that looks like that, but it doesn't have any meaning, right? But this building has a meaning because it's his fingerprint, so we loved it. Oh, so finally I get to build this. So I met the construction manager and everything. But then the building BOA, building of architecture, building of the building department said, no, I will not let you build. Because look, your neighbors are only 5 stories. So what? This lot you can build very high. But he was afraid there will be a mutiny. People will be very angry. So he said, we're not going to permit you. We're not going to give you build permit. So we had to fight. But the client was a busy man, so we scrapped the idea. So my desire to build a high-rise still not done.
Okay, you are in control.
Oh, okay. Oh!
Yay!
I'm uncontrollable. What am I doing? Oh shit. Oh, sorry. I got it. Okay. Okay. So anyway, here we go. Okay, this is a section. That's the inside. There are so many details. But anyway, now ramping. So I said I like this, and so I'm showing you quite a bit of projects now. So I grouped them with some titles, ramps. Okay, these 2 buildings, a lot of ramps, right? Ramp building. So this one is the Expo. The brief said, represent Koreanness. And I thought, how Korean, like the Psy singing, everyone is like dancing together. So that was my idea of Koreanness. So these cubes could represent people, and they're dancing all together. That was my Koreanness, and it got to the juries. Because I was dancing in front of juries. I won. Anyway. Oh, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, simple. I mean, it's many ideas. This was the Dubai Expo Korea Pavilion, 2020. So, every country tried to boast their architecture. I was trying to represent Koreanness with these pixels that rotates. And it can be characters, it can be pictures, it can be anything. But it has an analog content. It's not just digital. So it's analog and digital, digital we call it. And the other important thing was the ramp. The ramp. So, in deserts, there's mirage, right? So I was thinking of exhibits not really existing. So I was just imagining that people would go with a phone and just look at the phone and, oh, look, there's something here in the air. That was the idea. But the technology was not that up yet, so we didn't have that much of a strong impression. But like a Pokemon, the Pokemon, same thing. So the exhibits were like Pokemon. So you walk around. I was trying to get into a new kind of architecture, and also the other thing was that it was very open. So at night, it's very psychedelic. Oh, like if you're an insect, you would like it. Oh, the lights are coming. Okay, so it has very different kind of. And so you enter through the side, which is very open. So in Expo, the thing I didn't really like Expo is that you see there's no windows for me, no glass. I did it, no glass, even in Dubai. And a lot of Koreans complain, who is this Korean architect? He's crazy. No air conditioning? Oh, he doesn't even know ABC. So I was ridiculed, but it's okay. Anyway, I have many explanations to tell you about it. Anyway, so what I was trying to say is that the most Expo buildings were really dingy, dark space. You have to follow this line, and then it's just exhibition. But for me, you don't have to even come in. You can just stay outside, look at the cubes turning around, or just visit here, have a party. That was the idea. Oh, sorry, why am I doing this? So that's the rear. The wind comes through here, the wind. But we ran out of budget. Actually, it was like these flaps would rotate by the wind. The front was electricity. So anyway, yeah. Really short. Very loud, like me. Very loud building. And the exhibition starts from the top to down. So it has some inside, so only here is air conditioned. But the rest of the space is not air conditioned. I'm not trying to be talking about green architecture or sustainability because I don't talk about it. Because in Dubai, the winter season is fine. 27, 28 degrees, 29, 30 degrees. And if you're in the shadow, it's pretty fine. So you don't really need air conditioning. As you can see, there's no barrier between inside and outside. That's a variation thing, right? So I really love that idea. So this is what happened a lot of times. A lot of dancing. So it was more about partying than exhibition. Yeah. Okay, this one is a high school, and most high schools are like that in Korea, like a barrack in the army, right? So I proposed something new. At first they liked it. Oh, something new, green roof, yeah, everything good. But then, when I visit afterwards, there are no students because they're afraid that people will fall from the top or do something strange. So students are not allowed to go to the top. So it's not just one architecture, right? Isn't it? So anyway, this was one of the longest buildings I think I did. So at first it was a very, very long building with you can walk the roof and walk there and reach that school, but then we didn't have the budget, so that went away. This happens in architecture everywhere. It's compromise after compromise. If you're an artist, you will kill yourself, right? When you're an architect, you have to live. So it's very long. Roof. So I like the idea of multi-use. I love the idea of multi-use. Steps, but seats. I like this idea, like multi-use. I really like a more uncomfortable step, but it's still possible. And I like this shot because it looks like the green, this monster, this long thing is holding the whole city. The other idea about architecture in Korea is about maximum. Build as much as, build as much. You can, so we can make money, right? Build. No, some clients actually say this. Oh, Mr. Moon, I'm like an artist, let's build a very small building. And then once we design, he changes his mind. No, all of them do. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying maximum is one of the key words. Now, there are 3 buildings, very small. Why am I saying maximum? Because the regulation builds the design. I didn't do the design. So if you just do maximum, and the regulation just cuts it. So I don't have much work to do, but it's fine. I don't have to design intentionally. So some of them are designed like this in Korea, in Asian culture. So this one is actually a sesame seed factory. Sesame seed factory. So it's a very boutique sesame oil. That's why it looks like a filter. The design is based like filters. And since it's so small, I had to lean the walls to give more expansive space. And also by doing that, I get lights through it. It has basement and it's very, yeah, it looks like that. It looks like a tower. And I must talk about the client. I was in the Korean army. Every Korean man has to go to the army. So I was a soldier, so I can shoot and throw grenades. And so the client was my senior. And he was very nice to me. And in 20 years' time, he became an entrepreneur, and he said he wanted to do something. So he's a very short guy, but he reminded me of a monk. So I thought also of a Korean pagoda with it. So that's the other views. Night view is quite nice.
Open sesame!
So what do you do with sesame, Open sesame, it opens.
Oh!
So I tried to put something very interesting to architecture. This door is very big and very difficult to build, right? It's angled and it has...
Great.
Yeah, I said it. Okay, inside, this is the system of what it makes. I think some Taiwanese people know this. I went to his shop. There were actually Taiwanese and Japanese buying these oil. Yeah, it has a great name. It's called Queen's Bucket. Queen's Bucket. I don't know why. So actually, it's a factory. Yeah. So, so when I was supervising construction, there were a lot of tall guys like Simon. I was like, what are these guys doing? What are they doing? Are they working for you or something? No, they are Germans. Ah, they're working with pipes. Okay, so the German product. So these are general view of the building. Now this one is a mixed use. And you know what I mean by maximum is that regulation that cuts through. This is just code, right? Regulation design. So the regulation is dictating the design. Now I'm going to arbitrarily just draw lines connecting everything. That was the design. So the line connection was the design point. So, and the other important thing was that the client is an older lady. She lives with his son. So the son occupies 2 spaces here. There's a photo studio. And she lives up there, and there are communal spaces here in between. And she told me stories like, you know, Mr. Moon, I'm having bad dreams. I don't know why, every day. And then I looked it through the Google, and I realized before she bought it, it was a shaman's house. It's really funny, isn't it? So it looks like this, looks like that. There's a roof. There's a bath. Yeah, we built a bath. Yeah. And inside, even the inside, all lines connected. Everything, the line just dictates everything. Oh, this one. Yeah. Okay. When I was younger, I'm an older man now. I'm 56. When I was 35, I was more interested in stockings. Okay. So I was thinking, how about renovating a house with the concept of stocking over the house? And so that was the idea. I was into eroticism and architecture. I'm going to marry eroticism to architecture. So I was trying to do that. And I was thinking that it would be a great house for exhibitionists. If you like showing yourself a lot, you can live in this house. Yeah. So I was thinking there could be a specific architect for specific people, not for general people, but you could have a house like that. Inside was all mesh, so the mesh idea went all everywhere. Now, I do a lot of commercial buildings, small size buildings, and I was always thinking of a kind of bring festivity to building, even in a commercial space. So this is the idea about these buildings. Okay, all these buildings they have in common is some kind of festivity. So I was trying to bring the street into festivity. Why not? Every building. But then a lot of times it doesn't happen. It's just architect's fantasy. But anyway, that's you have to do something. So this building, the client came to me and said he saw a movie called Two Moon Junction. Do you know this movie? Maybe you don't. It's like a B-grade erotic thriller movie in the 1980s, 90s, and it was done by John King. In Korea, it was very popular. Yeah, and then he said, make me kind of a space where it's like that, very, very sticky space. So that was the idea. That's why the Moon idea came from. And it's actually a cultural center, private, coffee shop, gallery, and all that. And in modern architecture, there's a lot of decoration that's disappeared. So I put the horoscopes for them, brothers, and they loved it. Yeah. So it became part of an element of architecture. So, and the other idea was that there's a bar here. So if beautiful ladies stand up drinking, people will all come in. A lot of men will come. That was the idea, right? Yeah, that was the idea. So you have to go deep inside, and there are some interesting spaces within. Yeah, a lot of simple ideas, gardens. This one was a headquarters for an entertainment company. Korea is very famous for entertainment, right? Like Rosé is really popular now, right? Rosé, Pater, So not every firm succeeds. This one failed, but they asked me to design it. So my idea was here, what's the festivity for this building? I thought, the aspiring artists would come out in the balcony and dance for the community once a year. Wasn't that a great idea? But just me, I thought only me. No one else thought about it. So that was my idea of how the town would be. Oh yeah, they are dancing for the community. Very good. And by the way, that's me. And you see this lady, she'll appear very often. So this was just a mixed-use building in a just normal neighborhood. And I think the only reason it stands out is because it's more focused, right? The windows is very focused. And in Korea, the most difficult thing for me with the client was not the design itself, but about the glasses again. They want to put glasses here. So I had to fight, no glasses, please. Didn't you see Ando's work? He doesn't have glasses. So, even in reality, that's what the architects go through, right? I finally won, and by saying this is outside, even though there's a wall, this is outside. You don't put glass on outside, right? So, so I won. So various views. Basement is dance floor. The first floor is usually rented out because the most money you can get out of it. The first floor, you don't use it because you can get more run, right? The one thing different from Ando is that Ando doesn't give any resting space, right? I do. Look, you can sit down. I'm more kind than Ando. Ando is not very kind, is he? So, yeah. That's the office. That's where these guys stay. And they have parties. Now this one is, Shanghai Tang, right? The brand. So actually they were coming in 2008 for Korea. So I was designing a flagship store for Shanghai Tang. And then I was proposing a runway fused with the building so they could have a runway party, fashion show in the building. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. So Shanghai Tang didn't come in to Korea. They were trying to, but at that time, something happened. So this is Apgujeong district, where it's a fashion district. So a lot of fashion shows actually happen. So I was thinking, this could happen. And why water? No, it's getting hotter and hotter, right? In summer, you need some water. Yeah. Right. So now, this one. Have you heard of Jeju Island? Yeah, there's like a small island. It's very popular. In the island, there's a stone called dragon head. But actually, when you go there, it looks like a rabbit head. So I thought the clients wanted a bed and breakfast building, and he wanted to represent Jeju Island. Jeju Island. So I said, okay, I'm going to make a dragon head for you, a big one. Bigger than this. So, bigger than building now. Okay, what is this? What this is? This is plane spotting balcony because it's 5 minutes away from the airport, so you can see planes lifting going down. So if you face rear, you see Halla Mountain, which is the tallest mountain in Korea. Yeah. So. What is this? This is a youth hostel sort of thing, right? So half is his house, half is youth hostel. General view. See, there's a cinema on the roof. You see him. And of course, this is a thick building, so you need some air vents. So it's in the middle, there's a courtyard. And inside, contrary to blackness, it's very white. So it's very popular among actually Western visitors who want to save money and also have some experience. So it's very popular. If you check Expedia and write it down, it's one on the top list. Not just because of my design, but the client runs the business very well. This one is another commercial building, and it's written in the concept, right? I was trying to provide warm home to the building because this building is situated on top of the mountain range, and then when you're walking, you don't see any view. You don't have any view. So I was trying to say to the client, let's give pedestrians some kind of access to the view, so they could just get sucked and go to the balcony and see the view. That was the idea of the building. So that's when you get sucked out of the view, you see have a great balcony. And front, that's where you get sucked in. Yeah. So this is the black hole. That's the other space. And inside there's a staircase that moves like a dragon. Actually, this is a remodeling project, meaning there was a two-story building. I kept the structures, most of the structures, and a lot of it is, intervened. The general description of the building. So there's a great view out at the back. Now, I use a lot of colors, and it's very difficult to use colors in Korea. I realize I'm not trying to use as much because the harsh weather in Korea, the paint peels off very quickly. The paint peels off very quickly. So you see a lot of buildings, they're all colors. And one of this client came to me and said he's been to the bullfights in Spain, and he wants me to do a weekend house for rental with representing bullfights. So I proposed putting a horn onto the building. And so he accepted the idea, and the others are other really interesting ideas too as the buildings. Now, at that time I was really interested in how to give kind of a aliveness to our very static architecture, kind of give movement. So and I realized that everything that moves around has tails, right? Macro scale and micro scale. So I put tails to the building. Yeah. And this tail is nothing but just the giant hammocks. So they are hammocks. This is a moment when they were putting on their horn. And this figurative architecture is very, for them it was something new also. They had a great time with it. So that's the view in the mountain. We call them pensions in Korea. It's like you rent it, like it's a small size hotel, right? That's what it is. Yeah. So the tail is also the that's the front view of it. And I think I took this picture, and I think it reminds you of Picasso's painting, right? Crying Woman or something like that, right? Yeah. And I'm always interested in designing, presenting my work in a different format. Yeah, so like a comic, things like that. So that's a general view of the interior spaces. So this is the red space is inspired by Ferrari, and this one by Stealth Planes. And I talked about soft architecture, so I'm trying to actually do it with providing soft nets for the railings instead of hard architecture. Yeah, that's the interior view of these buildings. That's the other versions of it. That's the hammock you can see people enjoying it. And the colors. This one, I think the reason I'm able to use color is that when I was young, I went to Barragan's architecture in Mexico, and I was really inspired by the color, how the impact it could have. So a client came to me that he wanted to do a pool villa for, and then he said the site is in the forest. So I said, let's do this on scheme like a flower. So the color was one of the issues of this pension. So it's very popular among young ladies because maybe pink, they like it. Yeah, guys like it too. But and this is the other one where I use all the colors to the pensions, But after a few years, I went back. It has turned into blue because he said I can't keep on painting anymore. So I'm now worried about coloring. So nowadays I'm thinking more about coloring the buildings because I think in Korea especially, it's very difficult to color the building because it fades away very quickly. So I always try to bring fun to building. There are like slides and everything in it. Something interesting. So you see the slides. There are slides and playfulness to architecture. This is in Namhae, which is the south tip of Korea. Now, urban play. I've done some buildings for children also. So this client came to me and said she has 3,000 Pinocchio dolls around the world, and she wanted a museum, to build a museum. So that's how it started. So what's the concept behind this building? You know, the Disney film where there's a giant wave, and there's a bato on a raft, you know, trying to escape, and the wave. So these were the basic ideas of the form of the building. It's a general organization of the building. And this is just showing you how, you know, the carpenters are very creative, because we didn't have much budget. You know, Zaha Hadid has a building in Korea called DDP, and it was a very expensive building to build because the formwork was very expensive. So we didn't have money, so we had to do, you know, with really low cost. So I had to compromise, and this one is the general view of this place. And you see this Pinocchio? I didn't do it, but there are people living over here. They have complaints. Pinocchio is looking all the time. Get rid of it. So it's not my fault, all right? So yeah. So I said, but the client was smart. She gave free tickets to everyone coming from the apartment. So that's what I mean by cheap labor, right? So we didn't have money, so it was patchwork. But I think it has that quality of patchwork. So I let the carpenter do whatever he wants to do. I just go with the general shape, but the rest of the texture is done by the carpenter. And I think maybe I'm justifying, but I think it reminds me of the spaceship from the movie Prometheus by Ridley Scott. Maybe I'm going too far. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the interior. That's the apartment I'm talking about, you know, apartment everywhere. Yeah. That's the inside. One thing I really enjoyed this project was when it was built, all these children come, and then the space is filled such a great positive energy. So I was really happy to do our children's museum. Yeah. This one is another urban kindergarten. It tried to be a kindergarten, but there was a problem of some regulations, so we couldn't do it, so we had to change into a different kind of architecture. But the first idea was kindergarten. The reason is because the 2 layers of windows, and one for kids crawling, one for teachers standing. So, and this Morse, is kind of, it means I love you, come back, you know, this kind of thing. Morse. So I'm trying to give some meaning to architecture, you know. Oh, you can read off it, yeah, sure. So now it's not a kindergarten, but it's just a multi-use building. Yeah. Now this is a Folly in Gwangju. Gwangju is famous for art city, and a lot of architects such as Red Koras, you know, a lot of famous architects is given small spot to do design a Folly, a pavilion, and I got a chance to build. They gave me one Folly too. So that was my idea about the Folly. And so I was trying to give some kind of psychedelic space where people can rest and enjoy. And they said, oh, you're better than Red Coat House because you're not very expensive and it's popular. Very useful you are. No, actually Red Coat House nobody knows, right? Because it's too difficult. And yours is easy because you can see people and their colors. So anyway, I felt really bad about it, but anyway. They should pay more, right? Not like that. So, yeah. So there's a lot of vibrant colors I still use. This is a gallery, a small gallery and balcony in between the buildings. So it was my first attempt at using perforation from the floor to all the way around. So perforation everywhere. So that was an idea about this kind of building. Mixed use, okay. Another issue comparable to maximum is mixed use, and this is a mixed use building for a security officer's place. So that's why it looks like an owl, right? Security officer always with their eyes open. Yeah. So that's why it looks like an owl. But no, yeah. But I didn't start out with an owl, okay? The regulations, you know, and that's the maximum I could build there. So then it becomes a head, and the client head is very big like me, so it's a perfect match. And I just try to find the right point. You understand, right? I just try to find a place where it's fun. And so this is And he was a funny guy because he wanted a clock in his house. So there's a clock here. So he said he wanted to do some service to people living. So maybe he was an attention deficit person. He wanted people to look at his building or something. And there's a bathroom in his, I'm not sorry, bathroom, but there's a tub in his living room, which is really funny. That's one other thing he wanted. And I just want to mention that I call these pocket spaces, like a pocket, very small. This is exempted from floor space. So you can build more like this, very small, low. So some people want more than what they can get. So this is space for children. Yeah, very low. That's inside. There's a tub in the living room. Yeah. So every house, every building I do is very specific. This is for the kids. And this building is also a multi-use building. It's Hongdae. Maybe you know Hongdae, right? It's a very young people's area. And this client I must talk about because he thinks he says to me, when he met me, he said he's a Dracula reborn. What? Really, Dracula? Yeah. So he said he wanted to build something like Dracula's castle. So that was one of the inspiration of being this like Gothicness to this building. Some kind of Gothicness to this building. It was a very modern space, but there's a lot of Gothicness, like this, Venetian sort of, yeah. So it's still there, you can see it if you go there. These are the general views of them. It has much depth. Oh, okay. So, what did I do to satisfy my client who said he's a Dracula, right? Draculas go through walls, right? So I can't make them happen. So what I did was make a staircase just for him. So there's a special staircase hidden that he can go to the roof to his room. A separate one which is hidden. And he liked it. So I was successful. Yes, making a Dracula project. That's the general view of it. Why am I showing this? Because every building, I was trying to make a movie out of every building. But I haven't done it yet. But I have one to show you today. Now, in Korea, everything's built so quickly. So we broke ground at the same time. Okay? By the time I reached there, it was bigger than me. I was really angry. Oh my God, it's blocking me. What can I do? Yes, I have to do something. So I show this to a lot of students and say to them, why don't you make some games like that? Or, you don't have to really destroy buildings. Just get rid of ugly buildings or something. Why not? And then when you do something wrong, if you're a coward, what do? You run away. Okay, now, after like many years, he wanted some addition on top, so I put some addition on top. So I'm just saying I have good relation with clients, yes. They come back, yes. They come back, yeah. Which is not easy. A lot of times you don't see them forever, right? You don't want to see them forever. But I have repeats, yeah. That means, yeah, you got it. So, okay, this one, this one's really funny because, Elon Musk talked about going to the Mars, right? Okay, the town's name is Mars. This Korean town is called Hwasong, which is Mars, right? And so my idea for this client who wanted something special was that let's make a Mars building. So this is a Mars building, and the floor is an angle. So you feel different gravity, like Inception, Inception, the floor is an angle. To a degree, not extreme, but that was the idea. So you see, and the other idea was how each floor could be independent. You know how the floor is on stacked top each other, but I have to liberate them. So each floor is liberated. So you put it so it has an angle, not an interior design, but actually the structure is angle. And then you have this another way, no glass here. Wind comes inside. So when you go from the first floor to the second floor, you feel the wind, fresh air. That was the idea of these things. Yeah. And that's his living room. He's really different from me. I mean, I'm very normal, This guy is so over the top. Anyway, so you see what I mean by these floors, an angle like this. This is actually angle. Yeah. And second floor is for rental, so it's rental, you have to do something very normal. Third floor is his house. I don't know how he lives there. I designed it, but I'm surprised how their family, lives there. Everything's like a planet. Every circle, his bedroom, everything is circle. But he enjoys it. There's a spaceship on top. The spaceship, yeah, bridge. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm just saying there are all kinds of people in this world. The movie called X-Men where they say, if you think we are all normal, there are so many weird people. I believe that. I believe that, Simon is wearing a suit, but you never know who he really is, yeah? Same thing. It's a spiral. The idea of a spiral, when we are happy, we turn around like the Sufis. The Sufis turn around and we turn around in dancing. So I think the enjoyment and festivities represented by spiral. So I use a lot of that energy into architecture. The 3 spirals I used for, this was a long time ago when I had a lot of clients, young clients who wanted their first house. Very small, cheap house. So I use that energy as an idea. Okay, it's called Lollipop House. You can lick it, right? The client didn't like it. Oh, you make fun of my building. Anyway, it's a lollipop, like a lollipop, the spiral. And it's just explaining how cheap it is. Only AMG, you can buy this house. You can make the house too. Hansel and Gretel, right? And why not? But inside is spiral. So the thing is really surprising when you go inside, it's really a big house. So people are surprised when they go inside, they're like, oh, it's so big. So big, like Dr. Who. I go to a phone booth and then you see this big. So that's what it is. Yeah. Anyway, so this house was popular. Some people came to me, make something same. No, I don't do same. No, boring. Something different for you, yeah? Similar, yeah? But the thing was, everyone was very short. I make it even smaller for you guys, yeah? Your family is very small, so even smaller. And then he had a lot of collection of toys, so I put toys into his architecture. Yeah. See, a lot of toys, yeah? Toys. So the toys, yeah. Slides. Yeah. And the third rotation is that it's a small town in Korea, and actually the town looks like a roll of bread. So that was the idea. Okay. I was trying to put everything he wanted into the plot, and it became a roll. So it's a roll house. Yeah. You see the creative terrorism coming here, right? Things barging into each other. Why did this happen? Because at first he didn't have it. While we were building the building, the client said, oh, we need another room for the guests. Okay, let's throw something. That's how it became, yeah. At first we didn't have this. So that's great fun. So from very public to private, public to private. And you have private garden in the middle. This one is for the family of 4. In Korea, Korea is very facing crisis, right? Nobody's having babies. But there are occasions when this couple, they have 4, going on 5. They say, we love children, we have more. So this is for their babies, 4 kids. They live here. And they said they have an independent life, we have our life, and we should be connected somehow. No living room, but some connections. So I said, I'll give you a staircase that they can play. So that was the idea. So no living room, but just a staircase. That works as a slide and a bookstore, whatever, movie theater. But even grown-ups love slides, of course. Now I think we are reaching near the end. Wind, okay. I like wind. I like when there's wind blowing. Maybe because I'm hot or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm fat, I don't know. But I like wind, okay? It inspires me a lot to do it. Because I think wind brings you like something manifest, right? Air doesn't move at first, but then it moves, you feel it. Something is, I'm really attracted to it. So these 3 projects are related to wind. No, why is it not going? Oh, stop. You stop. Oh, why is it stop? Oh, yeah.
Maybe you need your assistant here.
Hang on. Okay. Okay. This one is. Maybe that's why. Okay. So this is a house for my high school friend. He's a vet. So this area is popular for people to build houses because there's a beautiful river. So these are my client. They are not very happy people. Even after the house, they will still look like this. They're animal doctors. And stop. Why is it stop?
It's my LC section.
Okay. All right. So he's the kind of person who is very undecisive. So the concept of the house of undecisiveness is to walk around and then you enter wherever you want. That was the idea of the house.
I think it's running out of
Oh,
battery.
is it not working? Oh yeah.
Okay. I think it's running out of battery.
Oh, battery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Next. So that's the site plan. And this house was inspired two things. Experience at Maldives and experience of Korean traditional houses, because in Korea, a lot of traditional houses have courtyards also. So I was inspired by a lot of Korean houses, traditional houses. And the other thing important was how I just follow this, how I design the shape of the building is just to shrink the size of the plot, right? So I take it very easily. When the site is there complex, I just use that shape as the design. Next, please. And he wanted second floor to be visible from outside and also that you could see outside to the river. That's the second floor. Next. The important thing about this house, there's also a pool. This is from the Maldives experience I had. Oh, this is a great idea. I'll have a pool. So we had a pool, so you can jump from the toilet. And he's a vet, so he had 2 cats and 3 dogs, or 3 cats and 2 dogs. So it's an ambulatory where you can take them walk around. And now the wind part. Now, I put a curtain around the house so that it can react to wind. So, very nice, yeah? It's alive, it's moving, but too much wind. So when we didn't know this, it was so windy. So at the end, clients said, oh, Mr. Moon, your design is crazy. Our house is flying. But the unhappy couple and I really liked it. Next, please. Yeah, it's like this. Oh, the house is flying. That's great. So this is such a strange house, right? Yeah. Next. So that's with the curtain. Next. So that's with the curtain. And so actually the curtain has a purpose. It's kind of giving a privacy screen to the house. And I'm not the first one who did it. Shigeru Ban did it, Ram did it, but they don't talk about wind. That's the problem. I talk about the wind. Gives authenticity, right? Next one. So next. Yeah, that's how it looks at night. Next, please. And that's the view of the, actually he's a Christian. He tries to reconnect to God. It's really, yeah. And you see this? It's actually literally a catwalk. Cats walk around. But I made it very slippery, so cats don't like it. And the other thing is this. At that time we didn't have the security measures, so I was trying to provide a humorous security version of it. So if a thief comes in and opens the door, he bangs the head and falls in the pool. And can we go back?
Okay.
Yes. The other thing about the pool, we ran out of budget, so by the time we were trying to finish the pool, we didn't have the money to do the filtering system. So what happened was, because he's an animal doctor, it suits the house, all kind of animals live here. So, next. So when it's not windy, it's very cozy. The curtain really works as an outdoor room. Next. Next, please. Various views. Next. Now, why is it flying? Well, Second Life, right? Before Meta, there was Second Life. This computer simulated world. Maybe you don't. There was Second Life in the early 2010s, and I thought I would move all my architecture into the digital world. So I needed the story to put it there. So the story is next. The story is UFO, unfriendly flying object. It's unfriendly, okay? It takes the boiler room, but the house is a coward. So this place turns into a cockpit and runs away. So that's the idea. And this has many layered stories because he has a very strange ideas about religion. So I thought you should find your own island and ponder there instead of screwing the world, you know. Anyway, this one. Okay, this is a house for my brother. So we started out with a very simple vision that let's build a house that is very low key and will be very, very cozy. You come in and you are like in a bunker, right? He loved the idea at first. Now, you know Margaret's drawing, right? The stone floating. So it's like Villa Savoie without the sticks. You crush it down. And now what happens is that since the columns are all inside, at night it will be like stone floating, right? The light's coming through here. So we really enjoyed it, but then my brother changed his mind very radically. He said he doesn't like it anymore. What? I know, but I said no. Then you have to pay your game. He said, yes, I will. So I can't do anything about it. So we did a totally different design. So he said, now I want some visible house. So I flipped it up. And then I rotate, because if you flip it up, you can have many views. So I rotated the views. And then I connected these things so that the wind would not rotate. Of course, that's not true. You don't need that. But as an illusion, I need that. Next one. So that's the plan. So that's the house for my brother. So he has a lot of views, 360 views around the city, around the town, and he has a lot of balconies. Yes, next. He has bath. Next. So he has bath. He uses it, and he likes the house, so it's fine. Yeah. And now, I think this is the final project. Remember that I showed you the Shanghai 10 project, right, with the bridge. This client contacted me again and said, Moon, I want to build a wind museum in Jeju Island. Jeju is very windy. What a great idea. So I said, so the idea is this. It's inspired by this lady, crazy lady. When I remember in a small town, there was a crazy lady walking around with long hair, fluttering in the wind. So it's inspired by that. And the idea of this is that wind comes through here. There's small motors, and then generates electricity, and then it moves like a turret. So it's reacting to wind. The whole building is going to move. That was the idea. But then, the thing is, like the high rise, didn't work out. So it never got built. But I recycled it. So there was another client who wanted something different. I said, can we recycle this idea? He said, yeah, why not? So that's how it became. This is Jeju Island in the winter, like a gold label of Johnny Walker color, black and gold. Good to drink, So you see, yeah, I recycled it, but much smaller. This is also a commercial space. It's a rented out space. It's very popular for some adventure seekers. And two things. This wall is about vernacular architecture because it's so strong. Many Jeju Island houses are very low and have high walls to protect the house. So it's inspired from that. And I thought about, I talked about womb space, right? The womb cozy space. So that was the idea. And I thought if wind comes, it could be a ocarina. Maybe the house could be a musical instrument, but then it would make too much noise. So I stopped that. Next, please. So yeah. So fortunately, this is an artist village. So everyone welcomed this building because everyone's sort of artists. They say, "Oh, finally, we have some artistic work." Yeah. Next, please. So yeah, so it has a very vernacular architecture, and there's some kind of extraordinary thing on top of it. Yeah, next. So you can see there the windows are really low. That's just referencing the local architecture. And balconies, this variation thing. Inside, now it's much better, but at first it would look like this. Now, it's it's supposed to be woman's hair, but people say it's a duck head. I didn't want to hear it, but that's how it became. So it's called space duck. Accepted. Yes. Next. We go upstairs. Next. And then you find this cozy space. It has everything, bedroom and everything. So, yeah, the view. Now finally, I made one movie about the house. So, yeah, let's see, about 5 minutes about the house. That lady you saw, she's there. You know where it comes from, right? It's not duck. So the client is a doctor, so I designed this building for the future. Also, for him, yeah. And he's such a special guy, so I had to draw this guy. He looks different. That's him. He's an eye doctor. Let's look what he's thinking about, you know. He's a very different person. So. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, thank you.
All right.
Any questions?
Thank you very much, and I think you're having so much fun with all your projects, and that's why people call Moon the surreal architect. Now I understand. And any questions?
I'll have first question.
Oh, there's Simon again.
Okay. The graphics for the movie.
Yeah.
The graphics for the movie. Did you do them?
No, I with my no. I wrote the I designed the storyboard with the scenes, with the story. I had a Polish guy who was my intern at the moment at that time. The Polish guy he was not a director, but he was very into movie making himself. So we collaborated. Simon, and yeah. So it's half of my work and half of it. So I presented it with his name together. Yeah. That's the answer. Is that an answer you wanted, or?
Yeah, I think so. It's just at the beginning. There was a lovely scene of the boat in the harbour.
That's Judge Island.
Well,
Yeah.
I would have also said the Tamar River in Tasmania.
Yeah, could be, but now it's Jeju Island. Yeah. So we have some beautiful views around the world. You know, if we don't label it, we wouldn't know. It's very universal. Well, thank you. Yeah. So anybody, you don't have to ask questions. You don't have to. But if you want to ask any, you know.
So it's really impressive that you use a lot of sound and color.
Oh yeah.
So I'm actually very curious. So one is that sound, because that comes with like different sound for different project. Is that part of your concept? And then my second question would be, you use a lot of very saturated colors. So is there something to do with culture, or it's personal, or it's random, or it's something to do with your play, you know, the storyboard?
Yeah, I think the sound part is that I don't really design sound like a Christopher Nolan. I don't design like Christopher Nolan because I'm not a movie maker, but I would use the sound because I'm looking at my presentation as kind of a film presentation itself. So I use sounds, and you know, why do you think that Beethoven made dun 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 means listen now, wake up, right? So it's kind of a signal. So I use that as the same thing. Why I use colors? I think color is not really easy because, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a cow. I like red. You know, maybe before my life I was a cow. I react to red. So that's one of the explanation. And the other is emotions. I think the colors, because I think it's from the Bergen, visit to the Bergens or visit to the temples. It's very colorful, right? These colors, and if you think about it, the Greek temples were colorful. It's been raised, right? So I think color has been a very important part of architecture for all along. So it's just that modernism has got that away from architecture because they thought it was maybe not true to the purity of architecture. But I think, so that's why I'm using color as a emotional trait. But I use not all the colors, but I use a lot of red. But now I'm refraining sometimes from colors because I think sometimes it's a deterrent. I mean, it doesn't really help with architecture sometimes. So it's not just color all the time, but I'll use it at the right time. Yeah.
Any more questions?
I'll go with another one.
Yeah. Great, Simon. Go on.
The building next to your name down there with the lounge room projecting out.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Now, I think Rem Koolhaas saw this and he then came to Taiwan to do the...
No.
Yes, I do think so.
No, Simon, thanks for flattering me, but I think he did it before I did, and I never really referenced that. The reason was that I was trying to put some planetary ideas to the building. So the third floor is like planets, a lot of circles and spheres. So I think Rem Koolhaas And I'm not in the same generation, but I'm sure we are breathing the same culture, the moment, the trends. So I think we're in accordance with that, we share values in a way. But Ram's more, I think, how do you say, intellectualizing it, and maybe more sinister in a way. I'm trying to put it more humorous way. I think that's the difference. But we are breathing pretty much the same. And the form-wise, I like the terrorism drawing I mentioned earlier. So these clashing of things brings out new things. So that's what we have glider and the collider, crashing things and trying to discover new things. So that's one of the ideas.
All right. So I think it's about time, and thank you very much. Let's give a great applause. And before we go, we have to take a group photo, right?